Welcome to the latest edition to Spilling the Tea in Studio D. Man, we got a great guest lined up today. We got the one and only Mr. Worldwide, Donald Westerman. He's high school principal now at Lake Hamilton. The three of us go way back. I mean, we got all kinds of connections
Yeah,
here.
I'm sitting here thinking, how many nicknames does he have? The Donald, DW, D-Dub, Mr. Worldwide. What else?
Right.
I mean,
He's got tons
yeah,
of them.
he's got lots of nicknames.
You know, I was thinking, I mean, of course, our families go way back. Parents all the way back to school at Fountain Lake, went to school together back then. We played ball against each other back in the day. But, you know, I was thinking, what's one of the things about Donald Westerman that you know, not seeing you as often as I did when we worked together, and I told my wife this, and I'm sincere about this because, you know, we'd travel a lot, you know, especially when we were doing research for our charter stuff. One of the coolest things about you that I think is kind of underrated, being an old agri guy, is just being able to, we'd go to different states and stuff, and we'd walk by a tree, and somebody would go, "Hey, what kind of tree is that?" And I mean, he could pluck a leaf off or just look at it and tell us what that was. And that's a skill that I think that's pretty underestimated, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I'm jealous.
Hey, my kids still think that's the coolest thing that I do in the world.
It's pretty cool, actually.
it
Not
is.
being funny, but yeah.
Yeah,
that
it
pretty
is
cool.
impressive because there are a lot of trees out there that, I mean, I'm pretty much a pine and an oak, then I'm out. I mean, I don't know anything
Me too.
about any of that.
Oh, you have
stuff.
so many different varieties of pines and oaks and
Yeah.
hickories.
Yep. Well, and you live in the perfect state to be able to do that.
Absolutely.
So I'm guessing probably with an agri background, that had to be part of what you guys had to do, right?
It was.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, had a forestry class in college
Mm-hmm.
where we had to learn the scientific names, and then my first teaching experience was down at Hermitage High School with Mr. Joe Don Greenwood, and Mr. Greenwood let me teach part of the forestry class, and in order to pass the forestry class, kids had to learn those scientific names. So, you know, you learn more when you teach.
Yep,
Right. Yeah.
for sure.
Well, that's a great segue into, you know, how we kind of like to get this thing rolling is, you know, kind of the why, you know, as far as education, what led you to this profession?
Yeah, so that was probably, you know, divine guidance. I'm certain. I was a ag business major whenever I went to college, and whenever I went into my first, I think it was an accounting class, and was watching that accounting professor fill in that ledger. And there was just this small, still small voice, you know, that said, "Big boy, if you don't get out of here, you're probably going to be doing this for the rest of your life."
Right.
And really, I mean, it was almost the voice that said, you know, go back to the thing that you love the most.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, I liked school.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
You got a super heart for kids, for sure.
Yep. So your first teaching experience was where?
Odin, Arkansas.
Odin, Arkansas, right? Yeah. And so when you started out, how big? You know, Odin's not a big school, so I'm sure you taught pretty much all day, a little bit of this, a little bit of that.
Yeah, I think I didn't even know what a prep was then, but I think I had, you know, 6 preps in a conference period. So everything from 8th grade career orientation to several ag mechanics classes, livestock production. I think I even taught a little forestry up there.
Yeah. So, and then was it? What was the next stop for you from Odin to?
Lake Hamilton Junior High School. I was junior high school ag teacher for about 6 years down at Lake Hamilton Junior High.
And was that where you got the admin bug?
No.
Or?
No, I actually left Lake Hamilton and went over to Glen Rose and reopened their ag program over there.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And for a couple of years was exclusively ag, and then went back and finished up my or started finishing up my master's program, and was allowed to come in and do a little assistant principal work for about 3 years, 3 years there at Glen Rose.
And the principal was
Craig Frazier.
yeah, Craig Frazier.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a great guy. Yeah.
Craig Frazier was principal, and Mike McNabb was the superintendent. Both incredible guys.
Right,
Just learned
yeah.
so much from them.
Yeah, absolutely. Know both those guys, and you're right. Education within an education, right there for sure. And and again, at what point did you step out to go with
SREB.
SREB? Yeah, thank you for that.
Yeah.
So I have been at Glen Rose maybe 5 years, and had an opportunity to go back to Lake Hamilton. I was a junior high assistant principal for a couple of years there, and then moved up to the high school. Kind of sounds like I couldn't keep a job for very long. I think it was in 2007. I had the opportunity to go to work for the Southern Regional Education Board as a school improvement consultant, working at the beginning. It was working with the 22 Dawson schools on some career and technical education improvement.
I remember you said you learned a lot when you went through that SREB and went to all the districts.
Yeah, it was really cool because I got to see how different people did different things, and how every school is very unique, and that the communities are unique where schools are, and we're so blessed in Arkansas to have such a diversity of communities and schools and some great school leaders, great teachers in Arkansas. So. Yeah, I got to learn a whole lot about the way people do things.
Right.
Really, I guess, expanded my horizons a little bit. Did have the opportunity while I was with SREB to work in several states and work in different schools and different systems, in several states, and always picked up something that, that was working that you never think would work somewhere else.
Yeah, well, and I found that experience even at Fountain Lake when the three of us worked together when we were looking at doing the conversion charter piece. Your experience with SREB, you had already had those experiences, and by telling us about schools in some of the states, Kentucky being one of them. Man, they had some incredible things, or I shouldn't say had, they have some incredible things going on over there. But back to what you said about the 22 districts that we serve here at Dawson, I would agree I couldn't agree with you more. That's the thing that I absolutely love about this job is just, the opportunity to go out and see each of our districts and how they do approach what it is that they do. Everything's a little bit different, but man, I tell Candace this a lot. We're very blessed with the districts that we do serve because it's not necessarily this way everywhere you go in the state. But I feel like in the seats that we're in, we don't. Yeah, I tell her we never need to take for granted the opportunity that we have because I feel like we're impacting more kids in the seats that we sit in now. But yeah, it's in community to community, it's a little bit different. But by and large, we have fantastic schools.
Yeah, any organization is only as good as its people.
Right.
And I think the big walkaway that I had from the time that I was able to spend, kind of consulting a little bit, was that just the quality of people that are in charge of schools,
Right.
that are in front of kids in a classroom, that are coaching. Just the quality of people is pretty high in this area. Some of the relationships that I was able to be a part of, to build those relationships even back then, I've continued even now. There are a lot of those guys and ladies that I talk to with a lot of frequency still, and it's they're great people first,
Right.
and then really good school people. So that's a good combination.
Right. And I tell you, I feel like that it's been exceptionally true throughout all this COVID mess. Whereas, pre-COVID, I think there was a lot of, and when I say it, I don't mean it in a negative sense in any way, but there was a lot of competition going on, and maybe if something was working really well, less apt to share it. But now I think all cards are on the table, so to speak, and everybody's really willing to pick up the phone if you do have a particular need or you have a particular question. Folks are going to help you out, and
Sure.
and that's, to me, that's been the biggest positive that I've seen come out of COVID, because it truly gets us back to where we need to be, and everybody's in there fighting and grinding for kids.
Yeah, so we started in Garland County. Maybe it was started before I came to Fountain Lake, but the first time that I was a part of it was when I was at Fountain Lake, was county principals trying to meet periodically and establish some relationship
Right.
there. A lot of times we're sharing the same kids. They they might be at Lake Hamilton last week, and
Right.
they're over at Mountain Pine this week, and kids move around
Sure.
in the schools, but we're also sharing a lot of the same kind of issues. I mean, if there is an issue that's affecting my kids at Lake Hamilton, kids over at Lakeside and in Hot Springs are going to be dealing with the same stuff.
Sure.
So we've got a really good dialogue between the 7 high school principals in Garland County, and I think that's a really positive thing for all of our kids in the county.
Yeah, it is, and I love, because he shared that they were doing that, and invited me to come and watch, and I was able to reach out to elementary, middle school. Try not to cough with my my
Fresh off of COVID.
fresh off of COVID.
Congratulations.
Yeah, think there's one in here that's managed to escape it so far. So, but
I was an early COVID.
Yeah.
guy.
I'm like
I had COVID over Christmas.
two
and
shots and a booster, and I got it. But so I'm trying not to cough over here. But took basically, your idea, and that you shared that with me, and was able to use that with other principals. And there's a couple of elementary principal groups, and they love it. They love just getting together in that small group and just to vent or to bounce ideas off each other. And like you said, they're going through a lot of the same things, and so it's been really helpful, you sharing that with me, to be able to take that to our schools. So
we've not been as faithful to that process through COVID. And even this year, it's been a difficult time. And you think about probably 7 of the busiest people in the world trying to get their schedules lined up to be able to have lunch and conversation.
Sure.
Yeah, but you built those relationships too. So at this point, you guys can shoot a text to each other, and I think that
a lot of that goes on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, shifting gears just a bit, with your agri background and, in education, things, the pendulum tends to swing back and forth a little bit. But let's talk about CTE, career and technical education. That pendulum starting to swing back that way a little bit. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I think about that a lot. That really may be, as I've entered I think I've entered the third quarter. It's early in the third quarter. But I think as I've entered the third quarter and start thinking about, what really matters, and what can my time, that at whatever time I have left, what value, what can we do that really matters?
Right.
And I'm just confident that the most important thing that we do with kids as far as preparation is get them ready for life after high school.
Right.
Life does not end at graduation.
Nope.
Yeah, it's that's really should be the launching point. So all the work that we do between now and graduation,
Right.
Really just builds up to that launching and what they're going to do. So CTE I think is an incredible tool for us to be able to tap into to help kids be prepared for success after high school.
Right.
We are at Lake Hamilton right now. We're deeply involved in some CTE. I hate to use the word reform. That's not what we're really trying to reform anything.
Right.
Just improvement and be able to prepare a workforce.
Right.
To come out and be productive, tax-paying,
Right.
Caring citizens.
Right. Right.
And CTE is a way that we're addressing that.
Right. Well, and somebody used the word reform the other day, and I told them, I said, it's more like rebirth to me, because
Sure.
it's always been there under the surface, and at times it's spiked up way above. But for instance, I know you guys have a construction program out there right now, and the numbers on that thing, what are they looking like?
The numbers on our construction technology program are just as many numbers as we
Right.
want right now.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, it's definitely a growing program. We have a lot of kids who are really interested. We've since 2020, we started having these conversations back before COVID.
Right.
In that we knew that we needed to be doing some things that were going to get kids more ready. I don't know, is that proper? More ready?
Sounds good to me. Of course, I'm an old math teacher.
She's math. It doesn't
yeah.
matter.
Okay.
Sounds great.
So we knew that we wanted to get kids more ready for
Right.
life. We started the conversations around looking at the programs that we offered and really asking, are these, is this the very best? Is this the best that we can do? And then COVID hit. So
Right.
we'd started these conversations,
Yeah.
and COVID hit, and really, we didn't have those conversations for a while. Last spring, we began to have those conversations again, and through that, we reached out to SREB and asked them if they would be interested in coming in and doing some work with our staff, and they have. So we're working right now with a consultant. Chuck Boyd is out of Texas, lives in Texas, but works for SREB, and Chuck's spending a lot of coaching days with us, working with our CTE teachers. We are working on program improvement. We're working on making sure that we've got the right kind of classes in place. The construction technology piece, it's kind of a no-brainer. I mean, when you look at the projected numbers in the workforce, or even numbers right now,
Right.
Every skilled person that I know that runs their own business says, I don't have anybody to help me out. Who are we going to leave this to?
Right.
Yep.
So, being able to connect kids that are trained with those employers is a huge piece. And SREB has kind of through the process, we've figured out some ways to make that happen. We're pulling our community partners in right now. I don't know how many times since last spring that we've pulled in some groups of community partners, employers, HR people, to you just sit down and help us out. To talk to us about what we need to be doing with kids in our CTE programs. We've started doing a lot of tours, industry tours.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Carried a group. I went with our construction technology class the other day out to the cabinet door shop.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and that's an incredible operation out there. If you've never seen technology and skilled labor,
Right.
working together there, that's exactly what it is. And clean, very pleasant place, to work. And we didn't have a lot of kids that really knew that's what was available right there.
Right.
So, but we've worked with the cabinet door shop. Our aerospace partners are all at the table right now. Tourism and hospitality. So we're really excited about the opportunities that we're going to be able to give kids through career and technical education.
Yeah, and that exposure piece is huge. You know, I think until kids get out there, sometimes that they do kind of live in that bubble. They think, you know, basically it's just, you know, I mean, if I don't go to college, you know, my choices are electrician, plumber, pretty much, welder, what have you. But once they get out there, like you're saying, to see everything that's available. Not that there's anything wrong with being a plumber or electrician, but even those jobs and how expansive they can be. I think it's just so important for those kids to be able to talk to those people that are on the front line doing those jobs,
Right.
and that
Sure.
and really talk the talk. We could tell them all day that these jobs are out there, but once they're talking to those folks, and you just can't put a price tag, I guess you could say, on those kinds of putting it in front of their eyes kind of situations right there. So,
Yeah, you know, the old model was we knew that we had to have advisory
right.
boards for all of our CTE programs. So what we decided that we would do is, you know, basically have a show and tell. We bring
Right.
all of our industry friends together and give them a cookie and a nice a glass of punch
Right.
and have a show and tell. We'd tell everybody what we were doing. We've changed that dialogue. Now we are bringing in, or at least the model that we're working toward. We're not
Right.
100% there yet, but the model that we're working for is that every program area, like construction technology, like ag, like family and consumer sciences, that each of those program areas would have actual industry representatives on that advisory board, and from time to time, a lot more frequent than once a year, that those advisory boards will meet with that teacher and with our CTE facilitator and inform us as to what our instruction needs to be in order to be able to put out, again, a quality product.
Yeah.
Right.
And the idea we'd always hear, well, what we really need from kids coming out, make sure that they show up on time, drug-free.
Right. Right.
Those are the only three things. Back when we were talking with people at Fountain Lake, or when we were talking about the charter school, and we would hear that all the time from industry. That conversation's changed a little bit. Those things are important. Soft skills or employability skills are crazy important.
Right.
But employers need other skills too.
Sure.
Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah. The construction technology piece. Our kids are learning some real skill. I mean, they're learning to measure. They're learning safety.
Right.
They're learning all the different areas of construction. At least they have a very basic understanding of how to build a house.
Right.
Of how to read the tape measure.
How to read a
We
tape
hear that all
measure.
the time. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, I walked into Mr. Mundy's construction tech class the other day, and that's what they were doing. He had a big tape measure up on the board, and we're just doing fractions.
Yeah. Yep.
And and I told him, I said that may be the most important thing that anybody in this school learns today is how to read a tape measure.
Hey, my dad's a carpenter, and I've told y'all he's a lot quicker. I mean, I'm an old math teacher, but he is so fast at that stuff, a lot quicker than I am.
Yep.
Well, and we talk about change, and Candace mentioned Your Heart for Kids earlier. Let's talk about that perspective. I mean, you hear that a lot in today's world, I guess, is that kids change. I don't necessarily buy into that school of thought. What are your thoughts on that?
I think they're always going to rebel.
Yeah, right.
I think the things that kids are dealing with changes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, kids are just younger people.
Right. Right. They are.
So, we've got a society that doesn't necessarily value the things that it used to.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And I mean, I don't think that's all on kids.
No, I don't
Right.
think so either.
Right.
So-
I don't either.
I think, if anything, like the old ball coach there from South Carolina would say, the basketball coach, it's the adults really, a lot of times that have changed.
Sure.
The expectations not there. They want to be, from time to time, they want to do all the fighting sometimes for them and that kind of thing. But I heard it said the other day, it used to be helicopter parents. Now they're full blown bulldozer parents.
They can. Yeah.
You know,
School is really, and I've said this since I guess maybe my first administration job. Whenever I started seeing kind of the big picture, but
right.
but what you have at school is really what you have in your community.
Yep.
Yep.
The difference is that that kids tend to be a lot more open.
Right.
I mean, you find a lot of transparency with kids.
Sure. Right.
Very much so.
Yeah.
If there's something positive that's going on in their life, they're pretty quick to let you know.
Right. Yep.
And if there's something negative going on in their life, they may not be real quick to talk about it.
Right.
But as you get to know a kid, you can figure it out pretty quick that there's
Right.
something,
Yeah.
something not great there. So,
Yeah.
I don't want to throw kids under the bus and say that that they've changed.
I don't either. Yeah.
But I mean, society's changed,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so.
and
Yeah.
that's a lot of what we deal with.
Exactly.
Just trying to figure out how to respond to a
Right.
ever evolving
Yeah.
society.
Yeah, and I think one of the biggest things, obviously, at the high school, junior high level, is social media, things that they're dealing with that the adults today wasn't even on the radar really. I think we're starting to get there, and part of that is probably is what we're dealing with some of the parents now, but a lot of the things that they deal with, we didn't deal with.
Sure.
So it's that adaptive piece, and but at the heart of it all, I mean, kids are kids, like you said.
Yeah.
Kids are going to be kids.
They're gonna-
Kids are going to rebel.
They're gonna rebel. Yeah. I mean.
Yeah, and they're going to try to get away with stuff.
Yeah.
It's like I used to tell them, I either did it, thought about doing it, or got caught doing it.
Yeah.
So you ain't inventing anything that I don't know about. So
Been there, done that.
that's right, exactly.
Well, and I'll tell you, I am so fortunate to be able to work in a place where we have great kids.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
There were fantastic kids at Fountain Lake, and I suppose probably in all of our Garland
yeah.
County schools.
Yeah.
But on a day in and day out, my kids will they'll look you in the eye,
Right.
they'll talk to
Right.
you.
Right.
If they don't like something, they're going to tell you what it is and why.
Right.
And
Yeah.
and they're very capable of communicating
Sure. Yeah.
that kind of information. We just have I really look forward to being with kids every day to
Right.
to our kids.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's one of my favorite things about both y'all is just, we talk about heart for kids but throughout 26 years, I mean, you see people that truly have heart for kids and some that are maybe just in it for the position or whatever, but you two truly, I'm going to be nice. I'm going to be nice right now.
That's
Darren, I'm
really
going to be
kind.
nice to you. But seriously, and I've learned so much from both of you guys that I just appreciate both of you.
Well, but
Y'all can pay me for that later.
Yeah.
Y'all can pay me for that later.
I've already got a T-shirt.
yeah, yeah. But what I would say at the end of the day, like I said earlier, I mean, you get one chance at help molding young people, I think, and
Yeah.
and you're right there with us.
But that's what I'm saying. It's not, when I say kids, I'm talking like all kids,
Right,
Every
yeah.
single kid and even the ones that drive you absolutely insane
Oh yeah.
that you just want to, jerk a knot in them. But
Well, to me, I truly feel like it's been to me, it's a privilege to be able to do what we do.
I
I really
agree.
believe that.
I agree.
And that's something else I think, that you guys are wading off into in Lake Hamilton is you're growing your own, so to speak, with teachers. You're exposing your kids and giving them the ones that are interested or think they might be interested in teaching.
And that is really, really new for us. We started that at Fountain Lake, and I think they've been really successful over there.
Right.
I know of at least one of those kids that started in that program that's teaching it at Fountain Lake now.
Right.
We have a lot of kids that express some interest in being a teacher at Lake Hamilton, and we're feeling the shortage thing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I heard someone say the other day they just it's, the teacher shortage is not really a thing, and I'm going to tell you what from a guy that worries about being able to put quality teachers in front of kids every day, in a place where we've been able to do that for a long time.
Right.
Looking forward, it is a problem.
Oh yeah.
You're not
gonna
the
be
only
a
district.
huge-
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're not the
huge
only
issue.
districts that said that.
Yeah.
that said
So
that.
this whole teacher training program that we're looking at implementing even as early as next fall,
Wow. Yeah.
I think is a good way for us to start finding those teachers
Right.
young. And I'm thinking about.
Right.
We've all seen that kid that we know.
Oh yeah.
Someday that kid's going to teach.
Right.
He's
Right.
going to be a coach.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, why not go ahead and give them, start them on a pathway whenever they're still in high school.
Yeah, and I say this a lot, with the teacher groups, and I have the privilege to talk to a lot of times. Sometimes as teachers and educators, we're our own worst enemy. I wouldn't do that or what have you. But honestly, why wouldn't you? I mean, if somebody comes to you and say, I have that, I have that desire, I have that passion, man, we need to tell them, hey, we need you. That's the way I look at it. I think the numbers are showing that possibly that more people than in the last, handful of years are getting back into teacher programs. But again, it goes back to what you said about quality. I mean,
I've heard. I don't know. I guess I'm now being in the third quarter. I'm in a place where I can probably say some things that I might not have said.
I like that. I'm going to say that. We're in the third quarter. I like
Oh,
that.
you're not even close.
No, I'm not. I'm kind of close.
I don't think you made it to halftime yet.
Yeah. I like that.
But
She didn't say that about you, Darren.
no.
well, we student taught together. Remember that, Dom?
Well, Darren and I think we lined up across from each other.
That's right.
Back
We did.
Yeah, but anyway, one of the things I was going to say is that we have. I've heard teachers say, "Hey, I wouldn't ever ask my own kid to do this."
Right. Right.
And I don't think that's absolutely a good thing. I mean,
No.
man, if you don't want your kid to do what you're doing, you
Right.
need to do something to change
Right.
what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
And that's either a change of place
Mm-hmm.
or change what's
Change
happening
career.
where you are.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
100%.
Because I've got 3 kids
Mm-hmm.
with 3. I've got 2.
He's a pappy
a
now.
son-in-law. Yeah,
He's a
hey,
pappy
I'm
now.
a grandfather here.
Pappy is his other name
Many
now.
times over.
Right.
But my own kid, I've got a
Right.
daughter that's a teacher, got a son-in-law that's a teacher, I got a daughter-in-law that's a teacher. So,
Right.
of the 6 of them, half are in education,
Right.
and
Right.
and I encourage that
Heck yeah. Right.
because my own kids are pretty smart,
Mm-hmm.
and I want smart people in
Right.
front of kids
Right.
and
Right.
people that care about kids.
Right.
Right.
That's right.
So
100%.
yeah.
And that's the thing, and that's the whole point when I talk to them. I mean, exactly what you said. If you're telling people and disparaging your own kids, there's something wrong with that picture, because at the end of the day, I think, to me, that's one of the you know, it's as simple as that old saying about doctors, lawyers, presidents. Even they all got to go through a teacher at some point. So we need great ones. So totally agree with that.
I know.
I think it's the most important work there is.
Oh, absolutely, without a doubt. And you can't stress the the quality part. That connection, the kid connection, is one of those things that I mean, you can't fake that. At the end of the day, you just can't do it. Well, I tell you, time rolls by pretty quick here, but we like to get to a point too where we like to hear, kind of some of the personal side of things. So one of the things that we like to talk about, or I do because I'm an old radio guy, but music's one of the things that I love a whole lot. So who's on your playlist right about now? You're kind of like me. You're pretty eclectic, I think.
He
You
is.
listen to a whole lot of stuff.
Yeah,
He likes Nelly too.
Yep.
I do.
I do too.
It's not Neil Young because
Yeah.
he's not on Spotify anymore.
That's right. Yeah. He took a hiatus. So
So, wow. I think I do have a fairly eclectic playlist. Just kind of thinking back, even the last few days. Tom T. Hall yesterday.
yeah.
Yeah, I listened to Tom T. Hall on a long drive yesterday
Right.
morning.
Yeah.
Driving back last night, I think I had a little Hair Nation going.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Gotta love the hair.
You
Nation.
got
Love the Hair Nation.
You got Michael excited about that. That's
Oh,
one
yeah.
of his. Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Wow. My wife and I took a little drive on Saturday, and we had some Goo Goo Dolls, and
Oh wow. Yeah.
some of that. So
Yeah.
and since Candace said something about Nelly,
Yeah.
who knows? We may go back to some old school, Nelly and some of that on the way back to work today.
Yeah.
So,
Super Bowl halftime is gonna be really good.
Yeah. That's Snoop and
it's
who
gonna be
else?
different.
Snoop and Eminem and
Oh, yeah.
Dr. Dre,
Yeah.
Mary J. Blige.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
Well, I tell you, that's the best part of my day is I got about an hour each way, but I love the music part. And like today, it was back into Eric Church a little bit, but that's what I like about, Apple or Spotify. They kind of pick up on your habits and and it's like, man, I forgot about that one. Oh, that's a good
Yeah.
one. So, but
Yeah. So like on Spotify, your daily drive or something
Right.
like that. Every once in a while, I'll do that,
yeah,
and I'm amazed at what it picks up on for me.
right.
You know,
Oh, yeah.
everywhere from Jamie Johnson
Mm-hmm. Yep.
to oh goodness, some of those old spirituals.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I told
just-
Darren one of the new ones that I love is that one of the Christian songs that I like is that "There Was Jesus" with Dolly Parton and I think Zach Williams. It's so good.
Yeah.
It's so good.
Yeah.
Haven't heard that.
You need to
Yeah.
listen to it. It's really
Yeah.
good.
Yeah. He's an old Jonesboro
Yeah.
guy. Played at Brooklyn,
Awesome.
basketball at Brooklyn.
Wow.
So, you talk about having educators in your family. So, advice-wise, do you give much to them? And if you do, what do you tell them?
To my own kids.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm not sure that I really give a lot of advice.
Right.
I mean, basically stick to it.
Mm-hmm.
There's really going to be a lot of days that are hard.
Right. Right.
It's not an easy profession.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But I mean, you just got to love kids.
Yeah. I know. I think I never, when you were talking about that, discouraging or encouraging your kids, I think Sarah, I've never one way or another discouraged or encouraged, but I know that she has seen me, invest in kids, and she knows that I love education and I love, making a difference in the life of a kid. So I think she's seen that passion. Now she's babysat for, 3 summers, and she has had some experience. She was like, I think I'm going in the medical field,
Yeah.
but we'll see. I was like, are you sure you don't want to teach? And she's like, no, I don't think so, but we'll see. I mean, it's so rewarding. It really is. Even the hard times, and there are a lot of hard times, but it is so rewarding to make a difference.
Well, one of the most difficult things to get your mind around, especially I think if you're a young teacher, is that you might have all the all the content knowledge in the world. You know, but until you get into a kid's heart,
Yeah.
you
Right.
can't get into their head.
You
Right.
can't.
Right.
You know, not for deep learning.
Right.
I mean, not for the stuff that matters, because it's
Right.
you know, real learning is so emotional.
Right.
It really
Right.
is.
Yeah, I
really
can
is.
remember. It was like my first year here at Dawson, but I was at AOP, which is the Arkadelphia Educators Group, and it's mainly like secretaries, office administrator type stuff, and I never will forget. But she had been with the district for many years, and she was retiring. But she said, "Hey," she said, "I've always said this." She said, "You know, if you want to get at the heart of education, you got to educate the heart."
Yeah,
And I thought,
absolutely.
yeah, I mean, that's 100% true. You know, we were at OBU, I guess, a couple weeks ago talking to, I guess, their fresh crop of soon-to-be interns. And one of the things that, you know, we talked to them a lot about was just having that passion and not letting it go. But that's one thing we really need to harp on. It's not going to be wine and roses every single day.
Yeah.
And we've all said that, you know, if you reach one student, you're really going to feel like you've done something. But I bet between the three of us, we've literally probably just touched hundreds, if not thousands, of kids, and won't even know
I would
about
like
it.
to think that. I
Yeah.
really hope that we
Yeah.
have. I really.
And some of them will never know about it, and that's fine, because that's not why we do what we
Right.
do.
That's
you
right.
know?
Yeah, my major professor, I don't even think we called him a major professor, but whenever I was at Southern Arkansas University and in ag education, Dr. Jack Harrington, who was my advisor, he called all of our, when we were coming back in from our student teaching experience, you know, he calls us all in for kind of an exit interview. And one of the things that he said that just have always stuck with me is that, you know, in this profession, the rewards are not going to be financial, and they're going to be a long way out. You know, you're going to work for years
Right.
before you really see that you've
Right.
done something,
Right.
and it's hard.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember the first kid that you know, after years, they had gone off and you know, become successful, and you know, they came back and said, "Hey, thank you."
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
all
You know,
you need.
that's really
Oh, yeah.
what Dr. Harrington was talking about.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we had Don Benton on the podcast, and he was talking about, you know, Bonnie Newman there, and I was but yeah, I mean, and we've all had those people that probably had that same effect on us.
Sure.
I mean, this is like I've told thousands of people. This is career number 2 for me. I never thought for a minute until I, you know, pumped the brakes and really thought about what it is I needed to do and
look
what
at you.
God's calling me to do, and you know, and so, but I can tell you, there's like 2 specific people that, you know, what they said and did that led me to go down that path. So.
Look at you now, bringing in career number 1.
Oh yeah,
Into career
exactly.
number
Yeah,
2.
full circle. Yeah,
It's good
So,
stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
I didn't get the vest memo today, by the way.
Well,
Also, that's one of the things that I learned from Darren, I think, is, you know, there's value in a great vest.
that's right. Exactly. That's
I
right.
mean,
And a
Yeah.
close
I
cropped
could've
beard.
That's right. Exactly. That's
yeah.
right.
Yeah, y'all are kind of like,
That's
you
right.
got the beard going on today.
Yeah. Well, I noticed you shaved over the
Yeah,
weekend, so I'm
I
glad
did.
you did.
I
So.
did. No beard, no beard for me today.
Well, man, it's been fun. We appreciate you coming down and hanging out with us. Hope it wasn't too painful. You know, maybe we'll get you back in here. You know, Candace, she's been down and out a little bit, but she's back swinging today. So,
Almost 100%.
Yeah,
I made it without
yeah.
coughing too much.
So,
So,
yeah.
got my Werthers.
yeah. So, but
Hey,
anyway,
thank you guys for asking
Yeah.
me to come.
I'm
Yeah.
so glad you did.
yeah. We'll
Miss you. I miss
yeah.
working with you.
Yeah.
Me too.
Well, keep fighting the good fight, brother.
Yes,
you.
for sure.
All right. Well, that's going to put a wrap on this edition of Spilling the Tea in Studio D.